Now that we have examined conventional routing in MVC associated with our startup.cs file, utilizing the use MVC method and associating a private configuration route method, we're going to examine attribute-based routing in MVC. Attribute-based routing is associated with the specific controller that we want to route to. So if I go to my home controller right here, I can implement attribute-based routing on my controller or on the different action methods associated with my controller. So let me go ahead and demonstrate this. I'm going to create another method right here, and I'm going to put public. It's going to return a string type, and I'm just going to name it ID route. I'm not going to create a view to associate with this specific controller method. I just want to demonstrate how routing will work. So I'm going to return back a string. So let's go over here and let's put in here return, and I'm going to put a string right here, attribute routing. So once I have that, now what I can do, I can come over to my controller and I can put right here route. And right there, when you put the route, this is associated in the Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC namespace right here at the top. Then I'll put a parentheses right here, and I can change the default route associated with my home controller. So I could name this test. Let's just name it that. And then once I have the test route associated here, I can put a route to associate with the specific method on my controller. So let's go here. Let's put route. And let's name this route. Not the ID route to associate with the method. Let's name it first. So once we have that saved, now what I'm going to put in my browser, I'm going to associate test/route. So let's go over here. I'm going to open up my home index CS.html file, and I'm just going to view this in browser. And once we have that loaded, let's go back and look at our home controller right here. There's nothing being emitted because look at the route that's being associated. It's test, and then it's associating first. So let's go over here and let's type test first. Look at that. Now we're associating the attribute-based routing in our controller. Now look at this. What happened with our conventional routing, we're associating a different route with our controller now. So that's why this by default did not emit. So this is the key to understand that. Now if we came in here and let's put route here, and let's put main, just to show you that this will be emitted. Parentheses right here. Close that out. Now let's come up here to the top. Since we're going to test, let's go to main. And this should generate the main route there. And as you can see right there, there's nothing being admitted inside of the controller itself, but inside of the home index.cs.html page, I have a paragraph tag that says my MVC default route. So this is how you implement attribute-based routing inside of MVC. Now I can take this route here, I can come up here, and instead of putting an actual hard-coded text, I could come here and just put controller. If you look at this right here, now I can associate the specific controller. So it's going to go with the naming convention of the controller itself. So right here, I can come over here and put home, and it should emit the same specific route as the home controller itself, and then the main route method right there. This is how you would implement it without conventional routing. You can go to the specific controller and you can put an attribute that associates to the controller. I can say right here, action. So let's go over here and put action right there. Let's go to index here. And as you can see, since I put the action to associate with that, it goes to the index and emits that text. And I could put the same to associate inside of my ID route method. So now if I save that and I go to ID route, it should emit this attribute routing text right here in my string method. And look at that, that's attribute routing. That's what's emitted from this text right here. This is attribute routing in MVC. This is a way to associate specific routes to your controllers. And typically, in a lot of cases, you will use this if you have different web API calls that you want to expose via your different controllers. With this option, you can associate different routes to your controllers and the methods that are associated on your specific controller. You can give naming conventions to whatever methods you have on your controllers. So I want to thank you for joining me in this lecture. In the next lectures, we'll delve into more functionality to associate with MVC.